For the final time of me introducing the Lonely Marketer podcast, welcome to the Lonely Marketer. Today I'm joined by Mr. Darren Westall from Paiger, a familiar face I'm sure we all know. Darren, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, mate. Good to be back on it, and I apologise to everyone for my face. It's unusual, I know.
And this is going to be a little bit of a different podcast, if you like. It's a significant milestone, I'd say, for both this podcast and the wider Lonely Marketing community. But I'll let Darren talk about that. What's happened, Darren? What have we been scheming for the past few months?
Well, look, you're an incredibly busy man, right? I think you should talk a bit about actually what you're up to now. I think that's an important part of the story. So,
yeah, I appreciate that. A lot of people probably see me as the Lonely Marketer kind of community since we set up properly pre-COVID, but that was at a time where I had a lot more time on my hands, to be honest. I was in the consulting world, supporting a lot of people who would be watching and listening to this and others with their marketing strategies, their own marketing careers. But for the past 12 months, as we speak, I've been employed kind of full-time by Meet, Life Sciences Recruitment company, who tasked me with setting up a brand new division with lots of new functions that don't really exist in the marketing inverted commas world, and it's just taken up a lot of my time. And I think over that period of time, I just felt, you guys, the people who are listening, and the wider Lonely Marketers kind of community, it'd been probably a little bit neglected. I will say that any sign of a good community is that it self-manages, it self-polices, and when we look at the WhatsApp group, for example, it's brilliant. That hasn't taken a dip, it hasn't needed my time, but where we get a lot of value and where a lot of friendships are born is the stuff outside things like this podcast, things outside the WhatsApp group. It's when we get those chances to really connect a little bit more kind of one-on-one. And I just felt, I wasn't able to give enough, and that's not fair on every single person who's part of the community. So I wanted to get a solution for it, and that solution has turned out to be Paiger.
Here we are. Now, I want to start by saying that the community you've built is incredible, and I've learned so much from being part of the community. I think I'm active every single day, drive my wife crazy how much I'm on WhatsApp, but I absolutely love the community, and I love recruitment marketing in general. Mm-hmm. When we first launched Paiger, I think we launched our businesses pretty much the same week, right?
Yeah, we met in a East End cafe, didn't we, I think?
We did. Yeah. Had a nice fry up. Might go there after this, actually. But yeah, and we always had the same mission, right? To change what recruitment marketing was seen as in recruitment. And I think that the Lonely Marketers has such an impact on that in the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. As has Paiger. I think actually they've been running in parallel, and at some point they did join forces. Yeah. That was much on your part as a decision. For me, it was fantastic. But maybe you could talk about why we were the right partner for you then, and then we can talk about maybe going forward. Yeah,
I think from a values perspective, and certainly in our world, values in the recruitment world, values gets thrown about a huge amount, and a lot of them are words on a wall or something like that. But the reason why the Lonely Marketers came about, and it came about because as this podcast, when I started that business, I didn't have enough clients and I needed to fill my time up, and I was very lucky to have a good peer network who agreed to be those first kind of 10 episodes of the podcast, and having having those conversations and bringing those career stories to life for a lot of them. Then when COVID kind of started kicking in, if you like, and there was a hell of a lot of uncertainty around, there's a lot of people in the recruitment marketing world who are, relatively inexperienced, and I really wanted to kind of create that safe space. It was actually Ellie Lewis who said, just start up a WhatsApp group, and and then as soon as that goes in my mind, it's like, well, how do we do it? How do we do it properly? How do we create a website, etc., etc. But the key to me in terms of creating that safe space was there to be no massive sales messages in there. It was never a revenue generating exercise for me. Look, I'm not naive to think that it would have had financial benefit for me from brand association and everything, but I was never going to push that or, you know, make people pay for anything, etc., etc. Over time, that did mean suppliers got into the group, and we had to change that because it was becoming something that I didn't want it to become. But it's no surprise that, you know, Paiger hung around in there, because in terms of behaviours, and that's ultimately what values are, they're not words, it's how people act and behaviours, is that Paiger's always been aligned with, you know, supporting people, supporting the recruitment marketing community, and I just felt that, you know, Paiger can carry that on, and you know, it started with sponsoring the podcast. Paiger never asked for anything other than, you know, a logo here, a little advert in there. Never asked for lists, etc., etc. Because you understood the kind of the long-term value of building relationships, and yeah, now we're at a point where I kind of describing it as you know, my baby's going off a little bit. It's grown up, gone through the teenage years, and it's time for them to go to university, Paiger University.
That's what we've got.
First plug. Paiger University still exists, yeah?
Still didn't come from me, I just want to be clear.
Yeah, but I suppose the bottom line is what that means is that
Paiger have acquired the Lonely Marketers.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the key thing you said there was safe space. What we want to do is maintain that, nurture that, make it even more of a safe space. So a few of our plans will be, we want to add as much value as possible, give back to the community as much as possible, whether that's in the form of webinars, the meetups that we already do. We will be having a meetup. I believe it's on the 22nd, don't quote me on it, but it's definitely coming. That one's going to be in London. So more drinks, more get-togethers, more sharing ideas, making sure that it is a safe space. So we're looking to put together like a directory of members, so you know who you're actually talking to. You can look at what they're up to, etc. And absolutely part of that will be relaunching this podcast, because I think the last guest was quite some time ago.
yeah, 100%. And I think that the podcast, you know, that's evolved certainly since when I was doing it. It was a point of just going through career stories, which is good because you can kind of, it feels lonely sometimes, and even just understanding that people are feeling challenges is the same. But then it evolved into looking into more specific parts of recruitment marketing or technical marketing. And I think that will kind of, you know, that will continue to evolve. I think that one of the things, you know, that Darren was key to keep involved, and I still wanted to, because that does mean a lot to me, is that this doesn't mean that I'm going away in any capacity.
In no way, shape or form is Glenn going away. So Glenn is the chairman of the Lonely Marketers, if you like, and for me, Glenn is here to make sure that, one, we keep in the right lines that we said we were going to do, and we absolutely will. From my point of view, we're never going to add a single salesperson into the community. That includes the WhatsApp groups, the meetups. You will never speak to somebody from Paiger's sales team. I'm a big believer that, you know, what we do, we are very, very good at, but you all come to us naturally. Community is a form of marketing after all, right? It's arguably why you started it in the first place. You needed those clients to begin with. Yeah,
it is, and you know, and so many people who are listening / watching this will be trying to build kind of communities, and we know within the sales world everyone wants instant results, but I think, you know, the Lonely Marketers, and it has been, you know, 4 years since a podcast, maybe not the community, which is more like 2.5, 3 years, is that it's proof that it does work. And I think, you know, for me, staying involved, it's important because I'm still learning. You know, I'm getting to that point now where, you know, I'm learning from people who are just coming in the industry with skills that I never had when I started. So learning new stuff as well, and I want to keep doing that. To be honest, I just don't want to do all the crap around it a lot of the time. And the stuff that takes time, but it's the stuff that adds value. There's a huge amount of time and effort that goes into the organisation of a newsletter, of weekly webinars, of events, and you can't do them half-hearted to add that value back to the people who are attending. So I think I'm very, very confident that those opportunities to learn, to create those peer-to-peer relationships, they're only going to go kind of like times 10.
100%, because on our side it's going to be owned by marketing, so it makes complete sense. So the podcast will be run by Kieran. Kieran's our head of marketing, so we're looking for guests. If anyone's listening or watching and you want to tell your story, or you've got a topic you want to talk about, let us know. The only caveat is you have to be a marketer, and not a supplier. We're looking for real marketers in the recruitment industry that can share their story, share their insights. And it's owned by the entire marketing team. So we sat down literally yesterday and said, who's going to own what? Is it a single person? And actually we realised that the beauty of TLM, the Lonely Marketers, is that it touches every single part of the journey, right? Yeah. You might be on the B2C side of your business, you might be on B2B in terms of client generation. So actually the whole marketing team at Paiger is going to be involved. Yeah. And I think to build a successful community from where you have it today, it will take that level of involvement, the 3 people to actually look after it rather than one man who's trying to balance that with a full-time job. Yeah,
and the community itself. I think all the best ideas, everything come from the people listening, the people watching, and having that input. That's why it's self-managed to this point as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and you mentioned webinars, so and we've got the first webinar lined up. But we're looking for ideas, so when you listen to this, please fire them into WhatsApp group. We want to deliver the value on the things you want to speak about. Things like Google Analytics 4. Okay, I know it's not sexy, but it's a pain point for everybody right now, right? So we could run a session on that. The session we're going to do first is actually how we run our B2B ads. So we're going to open up the lid on all of our LinkedIn paid accounts, everything, and show you how we do retargeting, the journey that effectively we actually put you guys on, but open the lid on that and then share our conversions rates, and we'd be keen to get your feedback on it. But also I think pay-per-click is quite new actually in recruitment marketing, so seeing how we do it might open some people's eyes about how you might be able to spend some of your budget.
Yeah, I think we could spend probably the rest of the afternoon talking about the all individual elements, and I think that's the thing is certainly I'm aware, and I think the Paiger team is aware, is that you go into 100 different recruitment marketing teams, functions, individuals, and they've all got different challenges. They're all being maybe led in different ways, and I think the big thing for me, kind of going back to the values, the safe space, and giving those practical elements, is to give confidence to you, who are part of it, that you're the experts in that space. Give you the confidence, give you the knowledge, give you the data, based on some of the stuff you were talking about there, that means that you can have those conversations with maybe the more challenging stakeholders in your business, that they can't push back. You're armed with everything to be able to do your job better and show more impact.
Yeah, everyone talks about the ROI of marketing, right? And it absolutely is there. I'm with you. Reporting on it can be more difficult. My dream is always UTM code to website to CRM, and then placements and every touch point in between, multi-touch points. And we have the same challenges at Paiger, right? So if we can share our insights on how we're solving that would be a dream. But really, I want the next webinars to be driven by the community. So do let us know what's your pain points right now. Yes, GA4 isn't sexy, but maybe we could help with that. Let us know, absolutely let us know. So for me, the community is all about building up trust, and that safe space is so vital.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think that's it. Anything you want to add?
Surely, if I can remember them, I need to do final 5 questions for you. See whether they've changed.
Go on then.
Changed from your last episode, and I don't know what that last episode was when we did it.
I don't.
People have to go back to episode X. Have a look. By the way, the website and everything still exists. It's really outdated, but that's all in Darren's hands, and that will be updated. The newsletter will be moving over to LinkedIn and things. But right, 5 questions.
On the website, before you get into this,
yeah,
it's on wix.com, and I hate you for that. I just want to put that out there.
Hey, we've got to do what we've got to do, haven't we, guys? So, right, I've got to remember the 5 questions now. Should have prepared. Never prepared for 100 plus podcast episodes. Why change the habit of a lifetime?
Exactly.
If you could do any job in the world, money, no objects, what would it be?
We spoke about this last time and I remember my answer and it hasn't actually changed. Literally what I'm doing right now. I wanted to do this for the whole of my career and I'm living my dream, which sounds really corny, but that's what it is.
Favourite sound?
Favourite sound? I don't know, that's an odd one, isn't it?
It's always an odd one.
Favourite sound? Do you know what we just had? Silence. I've got 2 kids at home and silence is golden. That bit there was just beautiful, wasn't it, when there was nothing?
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time my house was just completely silent and I'll probably miss them after about 30 seconds. But 30 seconds of silence would be lovely.
Yeah. You're not allowed to say pager here, you're not allowed to say your phone.
Okay.
Best bit of, or the bit of tech that you couldn't live without.
So that's changed, absolutely changed. Okay. It's on the table, right here.
Oh, is it? Oh, we spoke about this.
It's the remarkable. And it
by
really
name
has changed.
And by nature.
Oh, 100%. I used to have bits of paper flying around the office, my desk, and I'd be like, oh, where's that thing? I wrote it down.
Yeah.
That has changed how I work. It's made me so much more efficient. And yeah, it's one of those things where it was advertised to me so much. And I always went, oh, that's quite expensive.
Popping up on your Instagram. Retargeted, right? You're being retargeted.
100%. And I finally gave in, and I'm so glad I did. It's really made me so much more efficient.
Can't remember the 4th one. Job, sound, tech you couldn't live without. I know the final one is your favourite swear word.
You've really fucked this up, haven't you?
Yeah, can't remember that middle one.
Can't
remember. Sorry, guys. This is an exact example why Paiger needs to be involved. You get out of a habit and you just forget everything.
My favourite word is fuck.
Yeah.
I think at this point. Yeah, it's just so versatile, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There is another one, but I don't want to say that word. It's,
cool. So that's it. I would like to say I'll speak to you again very soon, but I probably will. Maybe not on the podcast. You never know. A few episodes down the line, but I certainly will speak to everyone in one form or another, either in person on a webinar or anything. But
you'll be at the next drinks.
100%. But the final thing from my point of view is to say thank you to Darren and the Paiger team for being so supportive and taking on something that really does mean a lot to me, and it will continue. So, thanks, mate.
Thank you. Hey.